Hello and welcome to this short video on classroom assessment techniques. My name is Chris Cole, and over the next few minutes I will talk about a technique called the memory matrix. So what is a memory matrix? Well, it's a two-dimensional diagram organizing information and illustrating relationships. There are column headings as well as cells. Those cells are usually left empty, which will be filled out by the student in the times to come, but we will talk a little bit about that later on in this video. It's also used to evaluate student memory and or their progress. So meaning that they can see where they're at in their class and see what they've remembered and what they haven't remembered. Really, to me, a memory matrix is a word table, and you will see a couple of examples further on in this video. So its purpose, well, it assesses students' memory on course content. It also organizes information into categories. So as you're thinking about the course content and as you learn things, your brain will start to put things into categories, and you'll remember a lot better. And you can see that further on in the video. It provides feedback to the educators on student progress. And it also allows students to own a piece of their progress. Having students engaged right from the beginning and see where they're at in their progress, I think is a valuable tool for the educator as well as the faculty member or the teacher. So here's an example of a table or a matrix that I created for a ship safety course on a specific vessel. So in the columns to the left here, you can see that I have specific safety locations on the vessel. And the headings at the top here, you can see I've got decks. So what this table is designed to do is to sort of trigger their memory as to where certain safety equipment on that vessel were. It's a great tool. I've used it a few times, and it brings back their memory during the ship's tour. So you can do this, in a different couple of ways. You can work individually, or you can do it in groups, and they can go out and search and jot down the information that they think where that specific piece of equipment is. I usually give a timeline, and for this one I gave a 15-minute timeline. But you can do a number of timelines. It just depends on what the course content is. And we review as a group, and that's something that you can decide later on, or when you're designing this, that you can review it yourself, or you can do it in groups. I find this course specifically, reviewing in groups is a good tool. This example here, this is a very short version of it. There's a lot more safety pieces of equipment, but you don't want to overload them as well. So you want to be not short and sweet, but you want to be pretty specific as to what you actually want them to remember. So how do we create a memory matrix? Well, first, you need to create a table with the desired amount of columns and rows with the headings. So like I said earlier, it's a table, and you be specific to as much information as you want in that table. You fill in blank cells with the correct factual information. So basically you're using that as your answer key, but as you put the headings, you want to make sure that information, so when you're reviewing it with the students, your information matches what they have. You review facts to ensure that they match up with the verbiage being taught. So you want to make sure that you use the same content in this table as you are actually educating. You then create a second copy with only the headings. So basically, like I said, it's an answer key. You don't want to give them the answer key. You want to just give them the blank headings. And then you direct students to provide the correct responses. And then, like I said, you can do that in groups, or you can do it individually, whatever you set up. And then you collect and evaluate. So this example here, once again, the same example as example 1, but it's got all the correct answers. So as you can see here, bridge locator is at the forward end on deck 7. And you get the point pretty quickly as to what this. So basically this is your answer key. This is what you would not give to them. You would have all of these cells in here left blank, but you would only have the left-hand column and the top headings going forward. So analyzing the data. First you count up the correct answers. So when you get the sheets back, you look at them and you count how many they got correct. And then you look for noticeable differences. So what did the group have differences? Like, were there noticeable differences in the group? Were there noticeable differences with what individuals? And that sort of thing. So you want to analyze to where the missing gaps are. And then basically this data is going to show what the students know. This diagram here, I found this, and it really speaks to some very strong ways of how people learn. So the first one here, data. This is the data going in. This is what the educator teaches, and then that data goes into the brain as information. And then once the information is in the brain and it categorizes it, and we do some teaching assessments like the memory matrix, and there's a number of them, but this one specific, the memory matrix, that information comes out as knowledge. And then once you've confirmed that the transfer of learning has happened and they remember a specific piece of content, it comes out as wisdom. I just thought this was a neat little diagram. So why matrix? Well, it allows many facts to be learned and categorized. Like I was explaining before, categorized, your brain puts it into categorize. It categorizes is what you're learning. Very little written material required. So in the matrix itself, you don't have to put a lot of written material. You put a couple of keywords, and that should, jog their memory, or it should bring back what they're actually looking for. It increases visual learning. And it also increases student engagement. I think student engagement is absolutely a key to a course being successful, or the successfulness of the students themselves. This little image here, I love this image as well. It shows all the pieces of a human. The way I look at it is a human brain, and all these little spots here are the categories of what you're actually learning and how you're learning. So why would you not use a matrix? Well, it doesn't allow for self-categorizing. Teachers cannot be sure actual content was learned, and can be very static and lifeless at times. Educator impacts. Well, it provides day-to-day feedback that can be applied immediately. It provides useful information about what students have learned without the amount of time required for preparing tests and reading papers. It allows you to address student misconceptions with a lack of misunderstanding. And it helps to foster good working relationships with students and encourage them to understand that teaching and learning is ongoing. Student impacts. Well, it helps develop self-assessment and learning management skills. It reduces feelings of isolation and impotence, especially in large classes. It increases understanding and ability to think critically about the course content. It also fosters an attitude that values understanding and long-term retention. And lastly, it shows your interest in caring about their success in your classroom. And these are the references that I used to create this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and good luck.